The Madison Square Garden, we got Jon Jones against Stipe Miocic, arguably the greatest of all time against arguably one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And Stipe, how do you see that playing out?
See it playing out? I mean, Jon Jones, the greatest ever. The greatest ever that you're ever going to see. I believe, especially somebody at that weight class, 205 and now heavyweight. So obviously a complete fighter, mentally the strongest guy that strongest competitor that you're gonna face out there. But there is always that puncher's chance, There's always that maybe chance into it, and that's what I believe continues to bring interest into fights. There's always that maybe chance. Stipe, the greatest heavyweight as well out there, arguably, so he brings so many threats to Jon Jones as well. So that's one of those things. It's like your gut would tell you that Jon Jones may come out on this on top, but it's always that maybe. And Stipe is one of those guys that can bring out that big maybe in this fight as well.
The Schmo knows you're friends with Stipe Miocic. He's got a big heavyweight matchup with Jon Jones, former opponent of yours. How do you see this playing out at Madison Square Garden later on in this year?
I think that Jon Jones, for the first time in a long time, is in a situation that isn't normal to him. Typically with guys like Jon Jones, Anderson Silva, GSP, Demetrius Johnson, the greats, right? Those guys are fighting people that are climbing and clawing their way through the rankings to try to take what the king has. So essentially they're just kind of ruling over peasants, and one at a time is trying to take what they have. This is probably the first time in a long time Jon is facing another king. Like Stipe doesn't have the awe factor that he doesn't feel that aura that maybe other people feel around Jon, because he's also that guy. I think that Jon is going to have to deal with some things that he hasn't in a long time, as well with the speed advantage that I believe Stipe is going to have. I think he's faster at heavyweight. I think that can nullify the wrestling just with his size and strength. This is another guy that's going to match Jon in weight and size and athleticism. Again, no disrespect. Stipe's faced much harder hitters than Jon and been able to take some of those shots. Obviously in the Francis fight he had a tough time with that, but so does everybody else. So I think that Stipe is going to have an easier time wading through some of those punches than maybe guys at 205 did. And I just think he creates a little bit of a different problem. No, at the end of the day, Jon Jones is the greatest of all time and the best to ever do it. So I think Stipe has definitely got his work cut out for him, but this isn't as simple and as cut and dry as maybe some of the other fights that Jon Jones has been in.
Well, Stipe Miocic, he's north of 40. He's the heavyweight GOAT UFC history. Win or lose, do you believe it's his last fight?
There's no way that Stipe Miocic beats Jon Jones and then doesn't continue to fight. If he loses, okay, scratch that. I asked Stipe 2 weeks ago, is this your last fight? Stipe says for the last handful of years, every fight could have potentially be his last fight. Just depends on how he feels. But I'm of the opinion that if he beats Jon Jones, just what an incredible place to be. Do you really hang him up after that, or do you know how much money you would leave on the table? If you retire after beating Jon Jones, I think that would probably be the storybook ending. But that's just not how we operate as MMA fighters. None of us are just decide we're done with this. Usually the sport's done with us. The Amanda Nunez's and the Habibs are outliers in there.
Is Jon Jones retiring after this fight? I'm hearing that too. Who's going to be the superstars?
Do you think it's going to be the last time we see both these men enter the octagon, or do you think both these men still have more to give to the sport?
Well, both of them can still fight, especially being in the heavyweight division. You see guys going into later years, being in their 40s. Everyone looks at Randy Couture and says, well, Randy did it until he was 48. That's pretty unusual. But you will see guys getting into that, 41, 42, 43, up to 45, and that's because heavyweights are just slower and don't move as much. It's a little bit different. Strength is involved more, and the power is there to hurt someone right away and end the fight at any second. But I look at both these guys. Stipe, I love I love the way he's always competed. I like the way that he conducts himself as a professional. He is someone that you look at as been a great ambassador, representative of mixed martial arts. And so, can he beat Jon Jones? I'll tell you what, if there's anybody that can, he would be that guy with his style that could be that man. But, so far, no one has truly beaten Jon Jones, and there's a reason. He's just that good. And so I don't think it'll be the last fight for Jon if he wins or loses. And I honestly don't think it's going to be the last fight for Stipe, even though Stipe, is in that position. He could pull the plug anytime, win or lose. It's going to be a great fight between two guys that, have been just impeccable in their careers throughout.
Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic, two legends of the game. They're competing. Big pay-per-view, Madison Square Garden. Do you think this is the end for both those two?
I think it is not the end for Jon. I think it's the end for Stipe, win or lose for sure. It's an interesting matchup, though. It'll be a guy that can wrestle, a guy that can strike. He's a little past his prime, but it's going to pose a real threat for Jon. Jon's not going to be able to walk through him and out-wrestle him. He's going to have to strike with him. He's going to have to outsmart him. But, Jon's a tactical guy, and so it'll be a real test to see how he does at heavyweight.
Maybe Stipe, if he wins, he retires too. Maybe they both retire. Double retirement same night.
Wow. That'd be incredible.
That'd be something different.
It would be.